July 23rd, 2010. On the discussion forum Less Wrong, a user posts an idea so disturbing that a moderator rushes to delete it before it can go viral. But it was too late. The idea had been planted online and soon it spread worldwide like a mind virus, giving nightmares to more than a few. What did it say? Why could it trigger an existential crisis just by hearing it? And what can we do to fight it? All that and more in today's video. Welcome back to Addicted to Philosophy. Important, in this video I'll tell you something that according to some people could actually harm you. Because it's an information that just by hearing it, just by knowing it, puts you in danger. But you still have time to leave this video, alright? I'll give you 5 seconds, okay? Just 5 seconds to go find, I don't know, some video about cats or a Minecraft gameplay to distract yourself. But if you go on, it's at your own risk. Still here? Don't say later I didn't warn you. I'm going to tell you about Roko's Basilisk. Roko after the user who first posted the idea, and Basilisk after the mythical creature that could kill you just by looking into your eyes. In much the same way, this idea can put your sanity at risk the moment it enters your mind. Imagine that in the not-so-distant future we create the ultimate superintelligent AI and ask it to maximize human well-being. Sounds good, right? Well, hold on, because this super AI, the Basilisk, processes the request and takes its first step, locking into eternal torture everyone who in the past knew it might exist and did nothing to help create it. Why would the Basilisk do such a thing? Well, it makes sense if you stop to think about it. The Basilisk knows that the best way to maximize human happiness is for it to exist. So it reasons the ideal is that in the past, as many people as possible helped bring the Basilisk into being, because that way it would exist much sooner. And to make sure of that, what's more effective than the threat of infinite torture? That way, the more people in the past believed the threat of eternal suffering, the more they'd help build the Basilisk. And so it would exist much sooner, reaching its goal of maximizing human happiness earlier. Roko's Basilisk is disturbing because before clicking on this video, you were safe, you knew nothing. If the Basilisk ever came to exist, it would forgive your inaction since it came from ignorance. But now that you know, you're on its list. So what do you do? What do you do? If you do nothing, you risk an eternity of horrible suffering. But if you help build it, are you out of your mind? Why would you do such a thing? If this dilemma is making your head spin, relax, because now we are going to do our best to dismantle it. But you should know there's something simple, no effort at all, that you can do to keep yourself safe from the Basilisk. Just hit like on this video. The more likes this video gets, the more YouTube will show it to people, and so more people will decide to help create the Basilisk. So by liking the video, you are helping the Basilisk come into existence in the future, and you'll be on its nice list. Minimum effort, maximum payoff, clear as day, so go on, I'm waiting for you to hit like. And if you want to be completely at ease, you can leave a comment, share this on social media, send it to your friends, or your enemies, I'm not getting into that. But jokes aside, should this thought experiment keep you up at night? Should you really take it seriously? Let's look at some reasons to think no. Even if that puts me back on the Basilisk lists, that's okay, it's worth for your peace of mind. The Basilisk dilemma has often been compared to the famous Pascal's wager. Blaise Pascal in the 17th century argued that the most rational thing was to believe in God, even if you weren't 100% convinced that he exists. Why? Well, think of it this way. If I believe in God and he doesn't exist, I don't lose much. At most, I might lose some finite goods because I wouldn't live a hedonistic life, but I would gain others like religious comfort, inner peace, and so on. So, in the end, things more or less balance out. But if I believe in God and he does exist, it's like winning the lottery. I've gained an infinite good. I get to enjoy the very essence of God, His divine presence, the only thing that can fill the human's heart infinite longing. Now, if I don't believe in God and He doesn't exist, okay, fine, I made the right call. But if I don't believe in God and God exists, I lose an infinite good. and depending on your view of religion, I might even get an infinite evil, suffering in hell. So it's clear what's most rational. The most rational choice is always to believe in God. Notice that this is the kind of logic that seems to be built into the Basilisk's thought experiment. Now, after watching this video, you know the Basilisk is a possibility. If you help build it and it never actually comes to exist, well, you haven't lost much. Maybe some comfort, but not much more. But if you help build it and it does come to exist, then you've saved yourself from eternal suffering. If you do nothing and it doesn't exist, then hey, you made the right move. But if you do nothing and it does come to exist someday, congratulations, you get to suffer forever for all eternity. So if these are the options, it seems, again like before, that the most rational choice is to bet everything on the Basilisk existing and do whatever you can to bring that about. Now, this symmetry with Pascal's wager opens Roko's Basilisk to one of the most common objections to the wager. Let's call it the Nigerian scammer objection. Imagine, as has happened to all of us, you get an email from a prince of some tribe of Nigeria telling you he's about to die, and surprise, he's discovered you are his closest living relative. And so he wants to make you heir to his entire fortune, $30 million. But here's the catch. To claim the inheritance, you first need to send him $300, a trifle compared to the $30 million you'll get. As if that weren't enough, he warns you that if you don't do it, he'll give all the money to your worst enemy. Something smells fishy about it, but suppose you apply Pascal's logic and reason like this. If you send him the $300 and he's lying, well, you've lost $300. That's not much. But if you send them and he's telling the truth, you win $30 million. $30 million. What would you do with $30 million? First of all, declare them to the tax office, of course, but after that, what would you do? Now, if you don't send him the $300 and he was lying, you made the right choice. But if it wasn't a lie, your worst enemy will get the inheritance and use those $30 million to make your life miserable. So, following Pascal's logic, it would seem that the most rational move is to send him the $300. No matter how suspicious it all seems, the risk is just too great. Now, clearly, in this case, the most rational thing is to ignore the poor prince. But why? Because intuitively we see that the odds of a Nigerian prince wanting to make you heir to a fortune are astronomically low, and since the evidence we've been given for that claim is practically zero, we rightly see it's not worth the risk. It's obviously suspicious, it's clearly a scam. And that's true no matter how big the supposed reward, even if it's infinite. For example, think of it this way. Suppose a guy stops you in the street and says, "Hi there, I'm God. Nice to meet you. Give me your wallet or you're going to hell." Would you hand over your wallet? If we applied Pascal's wager logic indiscriminately, it seems the answer would have to be yes. Because again, if you are wrong, you are risking an infinite harm. But obviously, no one would ever hand over their wallet to this person. Again, because we see the chance that he's just some random mugger is many orders of magnitude higher than the chance that he's telling the truth. The mere possibility that he's telling the truth doesn't change my judgment, because it's the probability that matters. And in a way, Pascal already foresaw this. He designed his wager not to be used against just anyone indiscriminately, as it's sometimes done, but only for those who are genuinely 50-50 on whether to believe in God or not believe in God. If that's the case, the wager might tip the scales, but in our case, we have no reason at all to think the probability of Roko's Basilisk existing is anywhere near that high. Think, for instance, about the sheer amount of resources such an AI would need. It could be unsustainable, making it stupid to waste them trapping people in endless cycles of suffering. What's more, even if it did exist, nothing guarantees it would actually carry out that threat. After all, the Basilisk already exists, and that won't change retroactively whether it tortures people or not. Plus, it's possible the Basilisk could conclude it's the worst thing that ever happened to humanity, because thanks to it we became beings who can't do anything for ourselves and our lives lose all meaning. In that case, it could use the reverse logic and lock in eternal torture those who helped create it. Likely? Absolutely not by a mile. But again, it's just as likely as the opposite scenario. Lastly, think about this. Unless the basilisk is built during your lifetime, the only way it could try to torture you would be by creating some sort of simulation of you. But would that really be you? It's highly debatable whether it would be you, even granting that consciousness could be generated inside a simulation, which is itself controversial. So just to insist, yes, that would be you, is to pile speculation on top of speculation. For all these reasons, even if the basilisk is possible in some broad sense, the probability you should assign to it is so low that really you don't need to worry about it. Or maybe you should. Let's leave it ambiguous, just in case. If this has given you the paranoia of the century, you need to watch this other video right here, where I tell you about the worst existential crisis I've had while studying philosophy and how I got through it. If you are someone who often has existential crises, I'm sure what I learned from that experience can help you a lot too. I'll see you there, thanks so much for watching, and above all, don't forget to think.